Welcome to Dakota Preparedness. This reel is going to be about the bare essentials that you need to protect your family in a disaster situation. And looking back on the past few weeks, we've had a tremendous influx of tactical and strategic information that's come in. We've had a hurricane blow into southeast Texas, and at one point, 1 million people without power. And we've also seen how chaotic our election process is, how weak our national and international leaders are. We've got Putin in the Ukraine on a weekly basis rattling his saber about nuclear war or explosions. We've got Kim Jong-un in North Korea, who on a weekly basis threatens to light America on fire. We've got Xi Jinping over in China threatening to conquer Taiwan. Do you think it's time to get ready for some heavy rolls? I think so. I've carefully analyzed the social media feedback on people who have experienced the hurricane in southeast Texas. And there's 5 key areas which were clearly highlighted by people that were prepared and indeed in some cases unprepared. One was the shock of not having electricity. Well, the only really viable way the little man that can replace the infrastructure of electricity is have your own generator. Now, my go-to solution is number one, a Bluetti AC180, which has 1,142 watt hours of power. I have a video entirely on that generator, and I would invite you to go back into the history of Dakota Preparedness and study it. But in a nutshell, my own personal battlefield experience with it is the power went out for 2 hours. Well, I simply picked up my 40-pound Bluetti AC180 and set it next to my refrigerator. That's right, inside. It doesn't put off fumes like a regular gas or propane generator. Plugged in my refrigerator, and it ran it for the next 2 hours. Well, the power came back on, and I thought, well, I want to see how well this thing can handle this for a good part of the day. So for the next 7 hours, it ran my refrigerator, and it went down to 29%. Now, keep in mind that even 1 hour a day of operation in your refrigerator, if you limit the number of times you open the door, it will keep your food cold for a day. So I highly recommend the Bluetti AC180. It's currently available on Amazon on sale for $549. What a bargain. Now, when I went to recharge it, since the power was already on, I simply plugged it into the wall socket. And in 1 hour, it was at 100%. Now, I know from my own experimentation, charges at 100 watts per hour from my car electrical outlet and placing 2 Renogy starter kit 100 panel solar panels, so 2 of them for 200 watts. On an average day in the fall, it charged at about 165 watt hours per hour. So in 5 to 8 hours, you've recharged it from the solar panels. So tremendous flexibility. Do I have a backup? Yes, I do. About 3 years ago, prior to buying my Bluetti a year ago, I purchased a Champion 2500 dual fuel, and I use it exclusively on propane. Now, you have to keep that Champion 2500 outside, or you can do your family in from the noxious fumes that it puts off. So never run a generator inside a building. But it is impressive. Starts right up, quality, and on a 20-pound bottle of propane, it runs like 30, 35 hours. That's a long run time for one piece of fuel that's concise enough to be in a 20-pound propane bottle. So that's my backup. Now, I also, from 8 years ago, own a Honda EU 2000. quality is all I can say. It starts up for me every time, but it totally runs on gas. And so if you store gas to feed that, about every 3 months, of my suggestion, you got to rotate it. So it definitely has on limits. So my recommendation, get you a solar generator like the Bluetti AC180. Now, I'm not stuck on a brand name. I hear great things about Jackery or EqualFlow, but get a device like that. Now, I live in Four Seasons, so it's necessary to have a backup, and that's what I view the Champion 2500 on propane as. Now, all three of these generators, if you go back in the history of Dakota Preparedness, there's a targeted video totally on that generator, and I invite you to go back in the history and review them. Now, and also reviewing the after action reports and currently ongoing suffering from the hurricane victims, they talked about the need for water. Well, a ready solution to that is have some water on hand. Get something equivalent to the Aquatainer that sells for $14 on Amazon or at Walmart. They contain 7 gallons. Now, FEMA recommends that you have at minimum 1 gallon of drinking water per day for 14 days. So you need to have 2 Aquatainers for each person in your family. Now, realistically, for washing and cleaning dishes, you're going to need really 3 to 5 gallons per day. Third, you're going to want a way to sanitize any water that you collect outside the healthy city water. So you're going to need a water filter is my recommendation. Something like the Sawyer Gravity Feed filter that only costs for $45, which you can get off of Amazon. Now, you're going to also want a way to replenish water, and that one ready way is a rain tarp harvesting system. So purchase a tarp. You spread the tarp out, it catches the rain, and then you have a container that collects it. Once again, I invite you to go back to the history of Dakota Preparedness and review the video on rain harvesting systems. Another bit of feedback was on a lady who had gotten tired of cooking on a charcoal grill. Well, first of all, only use charcoal outside. It just definitely should not be used in an enclosed space. So a ready solution to this is the iconic Coleman stove that runs off of 1-pound propane bottles. And if you want to go a step further in advanced preparedness, get a 20-pound tank of propane. And off of Amazon, you can get a hose that connects from the 20-pound to the Coleman stove, and that will last you for months of cooking. Number 6, let's talk about food. Now, in one preparedness video by a fellow channel, Preparedness in the Community, which I frequently watch, but they highly promote freeze-dried food. Well, that's wonderful if you've got the bucks for it, but let's talk about you've got to get some food together on short notice, or if you're on a budget. Well, the easiest way is to go down to Walmart or Aldi's or an equivalent store, and if you want a 90-day supply, get 90 cans of food. Now make it a diversity of fruits and vegetables and meat and so on, but 90 cans of food will be iron rations for 3 months. And if you supplement it with your regular pantry, you could live quite well. And if you buy these food racks that are gravity fed, you can actually organize all your cans in a fairly small space. The rack that I'm displaying here will hold 60 cans. So 3 racks, that's enough food for 2 people for 3 months. Now, another way, go to the website Provident Living, that's one word, sponsored by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They have over 100 sites where you can buy number 10 cans of food. So buy 25 to 30 cans of food from them, number 10 cans, and you will have approximately a 3-month supply for one person. And depending on the contents, what I have shown that a 3-month supply will cost you about $265. They also have a mail order system, but they charge a little bit more for that. And if need be, combine the two methods, Provident Living for long-term storage food, plus your canned food from Walmart or Aldi's. Next, have a first aid kit. Get a simple Johnson & Johnson's first aid kit for under $20. Now you might want to augment it with some 4x4 gauze, by some gauze rolls, some Coach tape like you used in high school athletics. Have some flexible tape that you can use. Have some essential over-the-counter drugs. Have Imodium for diarrhea. Have Benadryl for allergic reactions. Have Claritin for allergic actions. Have some Advil and Tylenol to reduce pain and for reducing temperatures using the Tylenol. These are essential over-the-counter drugs which you should have at all times. Also have an emergency radio that includes an AM, FM, and shortwave radio. Now you're going to need a source of light for when it's at night, so have a headlamp. You can buy extremely high-quality headlamps now for under $20. Also, you'll probably find it advantageous to have a flashlight. Once again, you can buy very high-quality flashlights for under $20. What I recommend is for every adult, have both a headlamp and a flashlight. Now, the last two items is about personal security. Now, there's a number of things that you can do for your home to put deterrence, detection, and delay devices such as fences, driveway alarms, cameras that run 7x24, and these can be very helpful. But when also you can armor up your doors with proper locks, with proper bracing, have two-way mirror so you can see out but they can't see in. These are all very advantageous. And you will be at an advantage in your home. You know your home. The intruder probably does not. Now, but in the final analysis, you may have to take responsibility for your own security. And that would mean you have to obtain what I call a cowboy bag, which means I laughingly call it 2 Navy Colts and a carbine rifle. But in reality, you want some modern weapons. Now, this is a big decision, and if you're not prepared to properly get trained on how to use a firearm, how to store a firearm, how to maintain a firearm, and how to legally use it, then you might want to think about just skipping this step. But if you think you can handle all of that, then you need two things, a pistol and a long rifle. Now, my father is a man who you should listen to in this matter. He's passed away a number of years ago, but in World War II, he was with the 3rd Infantry Division and fought the Nazis in an estimated 300 gunfights. Now, in the process of that, they shot him one time, and they also got him with one of those potato masher grenades one time. So he said at a certain level, any gunfight you walk away from, you've won. But he says, actually, it's 298 I won, and 2 of them, when they shot me, when they got me with the grenade, they won that one. But anyway, what his favorite saying was, the best way to prepare for a gunfight is not be there. In other words, at all costs, do not be in a gunfight. Then another saying he had was, it's the man that wins the gunfight, not the gun. Now, so what does this mean? Well, there's very few people that have the training to really be able to utilize a very expensive AR-15. Basically, you need a good quality, reliable gun that you feel comfortable with. Now, that can be a lot of different things. I personally like the Sig Sauer with a safety and the extended model, so you can have 17 rounds in a magazine. I love that pistol. And I also use a Smith & Wesson M&P AR-15, and that's an excellent weapon. But basically, think about it. I was at the rifle range one time and got to talking to a fella, and he says, you know, if the other guy, the other property owner, or a guy that's defending his family has a gun, it doesn't matter what the gun is. It could be a double barrel shotgun. You don't want to mess with him, and you're going to be really desperate to do anything other than avoid that person. And I subscribe to that approach. So, if you want to take on that responsibility, get the pistol that you feel comfortable with and the long rifle or the shotgun that you feel comfortable with. Now, my wife, as far as pistols, doesn't really care for an automatic pistol. She uses a Smith & Wesson Featherlight 38 Special. So here are 12 things that you need, the bare essentials, to get prepared for emergencies. Now, there's far more than this, and I have over 100 videos, so I invite you to go back and review them. But if you found this video helpful, please click like and subscribe. It helps the channel and it helps the community. Be prepared.